Hi everyone! Welcome to your tourism YouTube channel. Clark, Pampanga, the new center of trade and tourism. Clark has always been a symbol of prosperity, even if it's province itself. The existence of many business locals and international proves that Clark, Pampanga is a place for tourists, businessmen, and for people to host events and activities. It is located at the central Luzon region and is part of the province of Pampanga. Its strategic location is perfect for aviation and business. Also, its land is rich in natural resources, not to mention that the land size of Clark is 33,000 hectares. The Clark TIEZA or Piazza TEZ is a 20-hectare greenfield property located along the Prince Balagtas Extension Clark Special Economic Zone. The TEZ is envisioned to be an all-day tourist destination anchored on premier shopping outlet that is intended to be smart, disaster resilient, and people-friendly tourism estate. Total land area is 20 hectares. Investment opportunities: premier shopping outlet, 5-star hotel, MICE facility, businessman's hotel, transport terminal, indoor and outdoor theme park, villas, team building facilities, fitness clubs, and many more. And here are the few laws that we will enhance to Clark, Pampanga.
Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zone or CFEZ is a special economic zone located in Pampanga, Philippines, established under the Republic Act Number 9400 or the Special Economic Zone Act of 1995. As a special economic zone, it is subject to its own set of political and legal regulations. The political structure of the CFEZ is headed by the Clark Development Corporation or the CDC, a government-owned and controlled corporation tasked with the management and development of the Special Economic Zone. The CDC is governed by a board of directors appointed by the President of the Philippines, with the chairman and president of the CDC also appointed by the President. In terms of law, the CFEZ is subject to its own legal framework known as the Clark Freeport Zone Law, which outlines the rule and regulation governing the Special Economic Zone. This law provides for a number of tax incentives and other benefits for businesses operating within the CFEZ, as well as the regulations on labor, environmental protection, and other matters. Additionally, the CFEZ is subject to the laws and regulations of the Philippines, including the Constitution, the Labor Code, and other laws that applies to all businesses operating within the country. However, the CFEZ may also have its own regulations on certain matters, such as registration of businesses and the issuance of permits and licenses. Overall, the political and legal framework of the CFEZ is designed to promote economic growth and development within the Special Economic Zone, while ensuring that businesses operating within the zone comply with the relevant laws and regulations. As a Special Economic Zone, the Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zone, or CFEZ, is subject to its own and set of labor laws and regulations. These laws are designed to attract businesses to the Special Economic Zone while also ensuring that workers' rights are protected. The labor laws in the CFEZ are primarily governed by the Philippine Labor Code, which applies to all employers and employees in the country, including those operating within the Special Economic Zone. However, the CFEZ may also have its own regulation on certain matters related to labor, such as registration requirements for employers. In terms of wages, the CFEZ is subject to the minimum wage rates set by the Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board, which is the government body responsible for setting minimum wage rates in the region. Employers are required to pay their employees at least the minimum wage rate, which varies depending on the location and industry. In addition to minimum wage rates, the labor law in the CFEZ also provided for other benefits and protections for workers, such as paid leave, overtime pay, social security, and health insurance. These benefits or protections are designed to ensure that workers are adequately and compensated and protected from workplace hazards and other risks. Employers in CFES are also required to comply with labor standards related to working hours, rest period, and other working conditions. These standards are designed to promote the health and safety of workers and ensure that they are not subjected to unfair and abusive working conditions. Overall, the labor laws in CFES are designed to protect the rights and welfare of workers while also promoting economic growth and development within the Special Economic Zone.
Setting up a business in Clark, Philippines is a difficult task packed with triggering barriers and landmines that will discourage all but the most dedicated. When you take a step back and consider it, investors are bringing in much needed foreign cash to build properties that deeply need development while also providing much needed jobs for local populations. Under long-term lease agreements with CDC, land for development is available in the Clark Freeport Zone. Investors and developers may also choose to collaborate with existing companies to develop their leasehold assets. Whereas Republic Act 11354, often known as the CREATE Law, reduces the country's corporate income tax from 30% to 25%. Domestic enterprises with taxable income of 5 million or less and total asset of less than 100 million would have their CIT reduced from 30% to 20% under this law. The Basis Conversion and Development Act, Republic Act No. 9400, states that the Clark Freeport shall be operated and managed as a separate customs territory, ensuring free flow or movement of goods and capital equipment within, into, and exported out of the zone, as well as provide incentives such as tax and duty-free importation of raw materials as well as capital equipment. Clark has always experienced a shortage in dormitories and low-cost housing for middle management and staff with a tight housing budget. Many employees are forced to live off base in Angeles City, Sabong Patong, and Nakapagal Village. Whereas Republic Act No. 11396, an act requiring state universities and colleges to prepare and implement a land use development and infrastructure plan that shall include the construction of dormitories for students and housing sites for employees. This will be an ideal law that improves the quality of life of the employees and students that works in Clark.
Let us talk about criminal law. Criminal law is a branch or division of law which defines crimes, treats their nature, and provides for their punishment. Philippine authorities acted upon the tip that they were given by the Embassy of Indonesia, as Indonesian workers of the company cries for help. When the victims or the employees arrived in our country, the employers confiscated their passport. However, it was unclear when the foreign employees entered the country, if they arrived as tourists, and what airport they used. Recently in Clark Freeport Zone, a human trafficking firm got busted and 12 foreigners have been arrested. The DOJ said that they've been charged for violations of the law on human trafficking, cybercrime, immigration, and for serious illegal detention. The first 4 months of 2023, the country's crime rate is down to 11.36%. Plus, if you will see or read online, Pampanga residences practically says that they feel safe living there. In addition with that, Kapampangans are also known for being hospitable not just to locals but also to the foreign nationals. You have to keep in mind that human trafficking is a crime against humanity. The recent arrest also shows that our country is well coordinating with the foreign government and embassies when they acted immediately upon the complaint of the Indonesian embassy. And it also shows that the Philippines are committed to keep us and foreign nationals safe. The Bureau of Immigration has also been on site to process and assist victims who are foreign nationals. while DFA or Department of Foreign Affairs is coordinating with different embassies to supplement the assistance we can provide and to expedite victim repatriation.
Tax law. Philippine PEZA. PEZA stands for Philippine Economic Zone Authority. Companies that are registered and located within an area that is under the Philippine Economic Zone Authority or PEZA are entitled to various tax incentives and other advantages. Usually, enterprise located at PEZA approved ecozone required to export 100% of their production. Incentives for ecozone and IT locators. 100% foreign ownership allowed to accept in activities which are limited by the Foreign Investment Negative List. Income Tax Holiday or ITH or exemption for corporate income tax for 4 years and extendable to a maximum of 8 years, after which a special 5% tax on gross income shall be paid in lieu of all national and local taxes. The income tax holiday is not available for locators in the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority or SBMA and Clark Freeport Zone are entitled to the special 5% tax on gross income as described above. Exemption from duties and taxes are imported capital equipments, spare parts, supplies, raw materials. Tax credits will issued on breeding stocks or genetic materials when they are sourced locally. PEZA may grant the right to the locators on a case-to-case basis, sell up to 30% of their production to the domestic market.
Article 1. Tourism's contribution to mutual understanding and respect between peoples and societies. The article also emphasizes the importance of respecting the rights and dignity of individuals, promoting environmental sustainability, and contributing to the social and economic development of the local community and the country as a whole. These values reflect the CFE's commitment to promoting responsible and sustainable business practices that contribute to long-term economic growth and development. Article 1 of the CFE's Code of Ethics provides a broad framework for ethical behavior and responsible decision-making by businesses operating within the Special Economic Zone. It emphasizes the importance of compliance with laws and regulations, respect for individuals, environmental sustainability, and social and economic development, all of which are important aspects of global ethics. Article 2. Tourism as a vehicle for individual and collective fulfillment. A global code of ethics is crucial for promoting ethical behavior and business practices. Article 2 of such a code would focus on prohibiting discrimination, promoting transparency, and ensuring compliance with applicable laws and regulations. In the context of Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zone, these principles are essential for promoting fairness, equality, and sustainability in business practices that can promote tourism as a vehicle for individual and collective fulfillment. Article 3. Tourism, a factor of sustainable development. Another important aspect of Article 3 could be transparency in business dealings. Companies operating in Clark, Freeport, and Special Economic Zone should be required to accurately report their financial information and disclose any potential conflicts of interest. This helps to build trust between businesses and their stakeholders and promote a level playing field in the marketplace to conduct a sustainable development. Article 4. Tourism, a user of the cultural heritage of mankind and contributor to its enhancement. A global code of ethics is essential for promoting ethical behavior in business practices. Article 4 of such a code could focus on promoting respect for human rights, labor rights, diversity and inclusion, and sustainability in all business activities. In the context of Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zone, these principles are essential for promoting fairness, equality, and sustainability in business practices. And lastly, Article 5, tourism, a beneficial activity for host countries and communities. In the context of the Philippines and specifically Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zone, Article 5 could also cover issues related to corporate social responsibility or CSR. Businesses operating in this area should be required to adopt CSR practices that promote sustainability and ethical business practices, support local communities, and protect the environment. And another important aspect of Article 5 could be promoting fair competition and antitrust practices. Companies operating in Clark Freeport and a special economic zone should be required to comply with all applicable laws and regulations related to competition and antitrust practices. This might include requirements for businesses to avoid anti-competitive behavior, to avoid monopolies, and to promote fair competition. In conclusion, a global code of ethics is essential for promoting ethical behavior and business practices. Article 5 of such a code could focus on promoting transparency and accountability, CSR, fair competition, and sustainability in all business activities. In the context of Philippines and Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zone, these principles are essential for promoting fair and ethical business practices that support the local communities, protect the environment, and contribute to the overall economic development of the country.
Global Code of Ethics for Tourism or GCET. Number 6. Obligations of stakeholders in tourism development. Tourism professionals, public agencies, and governments are urged to work together to improve tourist safety and satisfaction. Tourism professionals owe it to visitors to give them objective and honest information on their destination as well as travel, hospitality, and stay conditions. In Clark Freeport, there's an annual 4-day air sporting event, the Philippine International Hot Air Balloon Festival, held between January and February. It is known to be one of the longest-running aviation sports events in the country. During the whole event, you will learn about the history and technology of hot air balloons. Hence, tourists will have a deeper appreciation for the sports. This provides a unique cultural experience for the tourists as it showcases the local history and culture of Pampanga. International tourists or foreign nationals can easily access the event's place through Clark International Airport, as it is just minutes away. Plus, there are rules and regulations in place to keep the tourists safe and for their satisfaction also. As we all know, security in the Freeport zones are securely tight. The Clark Freeport zone covers the area of the former United States Force Facility and remains under the control of the Philippine Air Force. Global Code of Ethics Number 7, Right to Tourism. Tourism is a universal right that is seen as a corollary of the right to rest and leisure as well as the representation of the continuous growth of free time. As a result, barriers to tourism participation must be addressed. This liberty to travel is complemented with unrestricted access to the world's attractions. In Clark Freeport, accessibility isn't a problem as it also a city away from the main city, Manila. From Manila via land, you can take the NLEX and SCTEX. If you are an international tourist, you can directly book a flight to Clark International Airport and it is within the Freeport zone and minutes away from the golf, resorts, hotel, shopping, restaurants, and wide variety of recreational facilities that every tourist can enjoy. There are a lot of hotels that are handicap friendly, and all throughout the years, our government has been committed to reduce the transportation constraints by making toilets, bathrooms, and doors easier to use for the wheelchair bound, and putting up ramps, handrails, and non-skid doors. In 2020, DOT or Department of Tourism and NCDA or National Council on Disability Affairs launched the Barrier-Free Tourism Kaya Natin. Aims to encourage DOT-accredited tourism-related establishments as well as tourism destinations to become more user-friendly for persons with disability. Global Code of Ethics for Tourism. Number 8. Liberty of tourist movements. Tourists and visitors should have the same right as the inhabitants of the nation they visit when it comes to confidentiality of personal data and information. Tourists and visitors should have access to all modes of communication, whether internal or external, and should have quick and simple access to local administrative, legal, and health services. GSET number 8 is like knowing you will be safe and taken care of wherever you go around the world, that you would be treated fairly without prejudice or discrimination. Inside the Clark Freeport Zone, there's a state-of-the-art medical facility and technology that everyone can have access to. It is the Medical City Clark, comparable to other medical tourism locations, as well as expert treatment from the hospital's highly experienced professional personnel dedicated to healing and providing the greatest quality patient care. Pampanga is the culinary capital of the Philippines. Rest assured, a Muslim or Islam could freely roam around and find halal restaurants with no discriminations, and they will have options. The DOT or Department of Tourism seek to make sure that the Central Luzon is a Muslim-friendly destination just in time when we hosted the SEA Games in 2019. Global Code of Ethics for Tourism number 9, Rights of the Workers and Entrepreneurs in the Tourism Industry. Governments must respect and protect the fundamental rights of employees and businesses in the tourist industry. Given the seasonal nature of many positions in the sector, they should have the right to ongoing training and development as well as proper social protection. Aside from its location, infrastructure, and tax incentives, the Clark Freeport Zone has been a popular destination for foreign investors because of the ease with which they can conduct a business. The Clark Development Corporation is owned and controlled by the government to create quality employment and assist the economic growth of the Philippines within the Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zone. CDC or Clark Development Corporation accommodates companies in different industries including IT, BPO, manufacturing, aviation, tourism, and other services, which helps to provide a lot of job opportunities. In 2021, back then Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat said, "We reaffirm our commitment not only to our Philippine tourism stakeholders but to our colleagues in the ASEAN through the conference, with its aim to raise awareness of the MRATP, or also known as Mutual Recognition Arrangement on Tourism Professionals, and equip ASEAN tourism professionals for restarting the new normal." The DOT or Department of Tourism conducted activities to promote competency-based training, assessment, and certification guided by benchmarks dubbed as ASEAN Toolboxes, which were developed to support the ASEAN Common Competency Standards for Tourism Professionals and the Common ASEAN Tourism Curriculum to ensure that the nation's tourism-related labor force remains competitive in this cross-borders playing field. Last but not the least, number 10, implementation of the principles of the Global Code of Ethics for Tourism. To implement and monitor these principles, public and commercial tourism players, as well as international institutions and non-governmental organizations must collaborate. From what we've discussed above, the government, including Department of Tourism and CDC or Clark Development Corporation, with the companies that work closely with them, are working hand in hand to help facilitate the implementation of these articles within the Freeport Zone.